Hey Gators, Josh Miranda here, staff writer for Xpress Magazine. Today we're focusing on the East Bay, following the arrest of 4 UC Berkeley students who were arrested for trying to hang an art installation in protest of an upcoming political event. Under California Penal Code 594B, that requires a minimum damage of $400. We reached out to UC Berkeley and they let us know they found 0 damages.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. From what I saw, what I understand the situation, it wasn't vandalism. I think that's definitely a tactic of police and these kind of institutions to quell protest.
They haven't prosecuted them and I think they're going to drop it. Some people may say, well, since they weren't arrested, why does this matter? What would you say to people like that?
We still should not be arresting people and trying to charge them for things like this. That still doesn't mean that it was a potentially traumatic experience for those students, a traumatic experience for everyone who witnessed it. And in the future, maybe they'll arrest people and maybe they won't drop the charges.
This might be the first time you hear about this. That might have to do with the fact that most media honed in on the violence that occurred during the event. A Google search for the Berkeley 4 only shows a single headline before broader or unrelated stories take over.
I think it's a general media tactic to try to paint these leftist protests as very violent, to then paint people on the left as inherently violent.
The news makes it seem so much crazier than it really was. They make it seem like there was this huge war zone happening the whole day, which is not the case. It was maybe a big amount of people, but mostly they were just there chanting offbeat, it was just a little messy.
I actually have a coworker who goes to Berkeley and was there for part of it, and they were saying that all the photos of that guy with the blood, he had gotten hit in the face, and then the riot police kind of escalated after that. So it wasn't necessarily as violent as they were making it out to be, but they definitely honed in on being able to use that imagery and making it seem like the people on the right, or TPUSA, are these righteous, American idealists, and the people on the left are these crazy radicals, when really they're just disagreeing with hate speech.
I reached out to both UC Berkeley and SF State's chapter of Turning Point USA. Only the president of SF State's chapter got back to me, declining to comment. He said that the recent Department of Justice investigations on UC Berkeley's holding of the event is why he can't comment. He declined to explain why the DOJ investigations prevented him from commenting on the Berkeley 4. I find it whack that an organization that promotes itself to be a bastion of free speech refuses to stand up for students who had their First Amendment rights violated. It makes me wonder if the investigation is the real reason they won't comment, or if Turning Point USA won't stand up for freedom of speech if it's a protest against them. What's right now the reaction to the administration, how they've handled everything?
It's really strange that there hasn't been really any statements put out.
Yeah.
Addressing the situation.
Yeah.
It is worrying, I do have to say. It is worrying.
UC Berkeley declined to comment on students' concern on the criminalization of student protesters. When asked whether or not they would support the prosecution of the Berkeley 4, UC Berkeley spokesperson Dan Magaluf said, "It's the DA's decision to make."
There are so many democratic ways to figure out a situation like this out, and it involved the student opinion.
For sure.
They did zero attempt to do that, UC Berkeley, do better. Shame on you, for sure.
By law, public universities can't pick and choose what organizations get to hold events on their campuses. I asked Lima Honey on her philosophy on how to maintain a balance between allowing freedom of speech while also protecting her students. This is what she said. What I hear a lot is that schools like ours are trying to silence the opposition, or we don't believe in freedom of speech. But I disagree. I think a lot of us actually agree that people should be able to express themselves. However, I think there is some people with nuanced takes where if an organization starts spewing hate speech, well, there should be a line drawn. Do you have any opinions on that, or what's your take?
Totally. In my opinion, obviously it is important to allow for freedom of speech to prevail on all spaces, on all campuses, But if an event poses such a big threat to the safety of students, I don't feel like it has a need to involve itself in that event. You know what I mean? I don't know. It is a complicated situation.
It is tricky because they have a right to do what they're gonna do with the nuance and the basis that it doesn't kind of cross that line into hate speech, and I think they have crossed that line into hate speech. There are ways to be conservative or on the right that aren't taking away people's human rights and doing things like that.
Don't stop voicing, what you believe in. There's power in unity. So set your differences aside. As much as it sounds cheesy and, whatever, everybody says it, like, this is the time to really set your differences aside. We're all fighting for the basic right to live happily. The right to live without our names, without our existence being tied to violence and corruption all over the world. So you deserve that. Keep fighting, and yeah.